Get ready, it's time for Motorsports Madness, powered by the staff at Race Chaser Online. Your motorsports, your way, every day. And now, here's your host, Jacob Seelman.
No, actually not. The host is Tom Baker. That's me. Jacob is actually at the track in Bristol tonight, and he is on site to cover the modified race, which actually is going on now as we do this show live, and the truck race, which will start at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time this evening as we do this show live, as we do it live on a Thursday night. So welcome to Motorsports Madness. My name is Tom Baker from Race Chaser Media. Next to me is Hunter Smith from Fit Stop Performance, and Hunter, part of our crew as well. And we've got Chris Murdock seated to my right here at the round table, and Francisco Scaramuzza via the Race Chaser Skype line, and Randy Miller. I don't know if we have the Randy Cam. Yeah, I guess we do. Yep, Randy Cam is fired up, and Randy is our producer, and will also be part of our part of the voices that you'll hear tonight. Boy, we got a lot to talk about. I feel like there's almost more to talk about than we have time to talk about. The modified race, first of all, it's just ended. Justin Bonsignor getting another win in the modified tour this year. Yeah, he's just on fire. Chase Dowling, Rob Summers, Patrick Emmerling, and Doug Coby rounding out the top five. So there you go.
It's so nice of them to finish up their shenanigans so they can come and listen to
us.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what they're going to do. They're going to get out.
Frame, so they had to get out before.
That's right.
Because they had to come. We're great.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it was.
That's their process.
They didn't want to miss our show, so they ended just before we started. So there you go. There's your modified race update. Justin Bonsignor wins again. And, again, we've just got so much to talk about, I feel like, tonight. We're going to hit Casey Kane's retirement announcement, Elliott Sadler's retirement announcement as well, both of them retiring from full-time competition. We've got all the action from Bristol to discuss. We're going to get into playoff scenarios, try to update you on everything we can there. We got ARCA stuff to talk about. We'll delve into silly season, and both in NASCAR and in IndyCar, we got some F1 stuff as well. So stick around. We are just getting started on Motorsports Madness, courtesy of Race Chaser Radio here tonight. Enjoy it. We look forward to the rest of this show. We'll step aside and be back to get it all started here on Motorsports Madness in just a moment.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
I'm Kaz Gralla, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Motorsports Madness as we kick off another evening of conversation here. We are just loaded with material. It's sometimes the news of the day just sort of writes itself, and we had one of those days today coupled with one of those days yesterday. So we'll start with maybe the most intriguing of all of the news items. That's Casey Kane.
It was like one driver made their announcement, and the other driver was like, "Here, hold my beer."
Yeah, yeah. Elliott Sadler did his yesterday, and Casey went, "Oh my!" Well, and I don't know if Casey drinks beer. You know, you kind of associate Casey with maybe it's hold my chocolate milk or something.
Maybe
something like that.
He probably still gets carded.
And yeah, I'm sure he does. So yeah, Casey announced his retirement from full-time competition this morning. What's interesting about this, and I'll go around the table, just get some thoughts, but what's interesting about this, I guess I'll start with Hunter, is I think that we all figured that Casey's future in NASCAR kind of sooner rather than later. I don't know we thought it would be now, but I think now feels like the right time.
Yeah, and, we saw when he left Hendrick, I feel like we all from within the sport kind of had an idea of how much longer is he going to be with us or running the Cup Series, at least at a full-time level. I think it's cool. I think he's got a lot of other stuff going on in his life between his son, his family, and the dirt cars.
Yeah.
And I think seeing Brad Sweet go out and win Knoxville Nationals for him, I think that lit him up. Like watching him on Twitter and stuff, he was so excited about that. And I think that's something, I think that lit him up, and I think that makes him a little bit more at ease to make this decision, that he has that kind of stuff to look forward to too.
Chris?
I feel like, just like Hunter said, that the Knoxville Nationals kind of really put it into perspective for him. Maybe he's wanting to step back and maybe take more of like an ownership role and maybe go to the races and hang out with Brad and have that experience and live that dirt life. He's a really, really big dirt racer. We all know that. So he loves the sprint cars. So I think there's a lot of positives to take away from this. And he had a great Cup career, with all the teams he was able to drive for, and then ending it off at Levine. It was pretty much, I think, he knew, and like Hunter said, everybody else knew, it was just, it's time. There comes to a certain point when you know that you've done all you can do in the sport, and you can't really push yourself anymore, and you just got to step back and take all of that in and then make your decision.
Randy, Casey said in his announcement that the highs were not outweighing the lows. Your thoughts?
Well, his announcement actually reminds me of what Carl Edwards did a few years ago, where he was talking about how he wanted to spend more time at home with his family and didn't want to be away from his family for too long. And a lot of people that aren't diehard fans of the sport probably don't realize how much time these guys spend away from their families. And him just having Tanner at home and just probably wanting to see all of the things that happen in Tanner's life and not miss anything. I mean, these guys are gone for 10 months out of the year. So I don't blame him a bit for wanting to spend more time with family. Once you have a family, your whole perspective of life changes. And everything you thought you were passionate about is not what you're passionate about anymore. So I kudos to him for deciding, hey, it's time for me to think about other things in life.
Cisco, any additions to that?
Not really. Randy covered most of it. I think the biggest thing that I take away from that is that, yes, as Randy said, this is more similar to me of a Carl Edwards situation than something like a Tony Stewart or a Jeff Gordon situation, to where I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to come back full-time in a different series, kind of like what Tony does with his own series, or how that's going to work, or what effect he's going to have in the sport moving forward. I do know, of course, KKR is going to be a factor in World of Outlaws for many years to come, but beyond that, unless he decides to hop in a sprint car and go race for a year, I really don't see him coming back to race.
Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch. I do believe, personally, he'll run more sprint car races than what we've seen in the past. I know he'll probably run Chili Bowl again. This will be an opportunity for him to kind of get back to just having fun with his racing, and at the same time have some more time with his family. I think this is the right time for him. I think when he left Hendrick, when there was not an opportunity there for him this year, and he went over to the 95 team, I really honestly don't think anybody was under any illusions as to what this was, basically. At that point, the arc of Casey's career kind of starts to fall off, and I think he sees this as just kind of the right time to get out.
Yeah, and he has had an illustrious career. Like, we look back, and a lot of people don't realize everything that he's done. He's a 3-time Coca-Cola 600 winner. He's won the All-Star race. He's competed for championships. He's won, just shy of 20 races or so. And in a relatively short time, we look back and we think, we look around and say, oh, Casey Kane, he's been a name for a while.
Yeah.
But, and I can remember I was 10 years old when he came into the Cup Series, at least. But he's had a relatively short Cup career. He's only been a 14-year career because his rookie season was 2004. So he's only had a 14-year Cup career. Looking at some of the guys that have just retired, they're Dale Jr.'s, Jeff Gordon's, Tony Stewart's. They had much longer careers than him. So he's really accomplished a lot in a short amount of time that we don't realize.
Yeah, he really has. Now, you look at the retirement announcement. That's kind of part of the equation. The other part of the equation is that this now opens up the ride in the 95 car. Now, that team has never been a front-running team. It's always been a team that's kind of been a middle-of-the-pack kind of team. Well, according to silly season, they are going to now become a Toyota team, and this is where it gets interesting. I said according to silly season.
Right.
Rumor has it that they're going to Toyota. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. The other part of this is interesting to me, and this is where, to me, I think it sort of spins silly season on its ear, because originally I heard what I'm about to say as it's going to be a 2-car team. Now Casey Kane's out of the picture. So maybe the likelihood's increased that Chris Bell will be brought up to Cup and placed in that car in sort of the similar fashion to the way Eric Jones was put into the 77 car for Furniture Row Racing until he was ready to go to Gibbs. Chris Bell, according to rumor, may be going to the 95 car in the same sort of a situation. I'll turn to Chris this time. First of all, are you buying or selling that that's what's going to happen? And then are you buying or selling this is really a good idea?
I will buy that it's going to happen, but maybe a 2-car team will be in the mix for LFR. If you think of Ryan Preece and Christopher Bell driving the 95 and that car at Levine Family Racing, because both of their futures next year are kind of up in the air.
That's
There's
interesting.
been a whole bunch of talk, and they're both Toyota drivers at this moment in time. So that could make sense to me, but I just don't know. There's a whole lot of words going around right now in different ways and in different theories, and it's just like we said, a whole bunch of rumors.
Well, let's clarify that Christopher Bell is actually a Toyota driver. Ryan Preece is running some races for Joe Gibbs Racing. He is not technically a Toyota driver.
They both drive Toyotas.
They both drive Toyotas, but yes, he's not part of the Toyota TRD driver development family. Okay, so that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it still being a 2-car team. Hunter, do you think Chris Bell goes to the 95 next year?
Well, you had a couple
Does
guys.
it make sense to you?
No. So.
Okay.
Just right.
So today, Christopher Bell, Cole Custer, Daniel Hemrick were all in the media center at Bristol talking about their rumors for next year.
Yeah.
And Bell has stated multiple times he will be in the Xfinity Series next year. I don't think Christopher Bell wants to leave Joe Gibbs. I think he's waiting on something at Joe Gibbs, and I think he's patient enough to wait at this point because he's claiming. However, I definitely think the 95 will go to Toyota. I don't believe it'll be a two-car team right off the bat, but you never know.
We'll see where this goes. I'll give my thoughts on this and get Randy's and Cisco's as well. We'll keep talking about this right around the turn. You're listening to Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio. We'll be right back.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game.
What's up with your car?
I don't know. It won't start.
How are we getting home?
Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'll come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm Chase Cabrey, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness. As we continue to talk motorsports, and we're talking about silly season and Casey Kane's announcement that he's going to retire from full-time NASCAR Cup Series competition in at the end of the 2018 season here, leaving the 95 open. We've been kind of talking about the persistent rumor that Chris Bell drives that car. and Hunter's skeptical of that.
That's a good word.
As am I, to be honest, even though I keep hearing it from sources that should know. I just find it hard to believe that Chris Bell would come to Cup in a situation like this with a team that, at least as of right now, hasn't shown that it can run anywhere near the front of the field on a consistent basis. I know they're trying to improve it, and I think they've got a lot of stuff in the works. They're obviously switching to Toyota is going to help, but I just don't see Chris Bell coming up to Cup unless it's in a competitive situation. So with that being the case, well, first of all, let me get Randy's and also Cisco's 2 cents on this. Randy, is Chris Bell coming to Cup?
I just don't see. I don't see it. I don't see the link. I mean, I see the link because obviously, if they go to Toyota, then they're gonna probably have an alliance with Joe Gibbs. Although, from what I understand, Joe Gibbs doesn't have a contract with Furniture Row for this coming 2019 yet. So, I mean, they're looking at other options. Which, let me say this: if Furniture Row does not re-sign with Joe Gibbs, first of all, they'd be crazy for number one, because Martin has probably one of, if not the best Toyota, aside from Kyle Busch, obviously. But if they don't re-sign and they decide to go with a team like Leavine, just that alliance alone would make that team better. Just with the technical alliance aspect, not putting a driver in the car. I just don't think the team just out of the box is going to be fast enough for a guy like Christopher Bell to be intrigued enough to go, well, I feel like I'm taking a step down.
Yeah.
If I take that ride, I'd rather just wait in Xfinity until somebody at Gibbs retires or leaves and then just take that seat.
Right.
Rather than risk taking a, I don't want to say start and park because they're not start and park, but a lower funded ride just for the purpose of being in Cup for experience.
Cisco, I think the intriguing part of this is that if Christopher Bell isn't the driver who's coming into the 95, the question then becomes who is.
And we don't know, because if they end up going with Toyota and it's not Christopher Bell, who do you get out of the Toyota stable that's ready to come back up? Does somebody jump the line at that point if Chris Bell doesn't want to make that move and go to that lower team? If they stay with Chevrolet, at that point, are we talking a Daniel Hemrick or a Spencer Gallagher, despite the fact they have the 23 or something like that, someone in his position, maybe even a John Hunter Nemechek? Or if Ford takes over that car, any of those options, or maybe Leavine finds somebody to hop in the seat for a year, like what Clint Boyer did with the 15 back before he went to SHR. I kind of see a little bit of similarities, and I also see similarities if Chris Bell ends up in that 95, very similar to the situation that Eric Jones was in when he was in the 77 for that year.
Well, that's what it would be, and it's basically we keep them there until it's time to, until there's an opening at the home team, basically, which would be Gibbs, and then we plug him in and bring the next guy up. I believe they'll go Toyota. I think that part of the rumor seems to be enough. There's enough smoke there that I think there's probably fire. I could see them going to Toyota. Not too sure. I just. Maybe Chris Bell comes up, but boy, I think Chris would have to be awful darn sure that car was going to be a winning car. I think Chris would kind of resist coming up and just running around in the middle of the field for a year or two until he gets, the shot. Better you stay in Xfinity and be able to run for wins and championships at that point. Now, as we look at, okay, set aside the 95, but let's go back and talk about the next retirement situation, because I think this kind of all could play in together a little bit. Elliott Sadler announced that he's also stepping away from full-time Xfinity Series competition and full-time racing after this year. Did not say he wouldn't run some shows, and for that matter, neither is Kane. But Sadler's out of the one. So now Junior Motorsports has a vacancy. Mm-hmm. Now here's what's interesting about this. Toyota's got all these drivers kind of down there. They don't have a lot of opportunity at, the middle and top levels. So if you are, for example, a Ryan Preece, and you get a chance to have enough funding or in some way get asked to drive a car like the Junior Motorsports car, or maybe if you're, a Trevor Bayne, or you were, to me, this becomes a desired ride in the Xfinity Series for a lot of people because
100%.
it's run for the championship a number of times, right, Chris? So if you're Ryan Preece, you're not necessarily going to be brand loyal to Toyota or Gibbs. If you get a shot in something else that you think is going to be good for you, you're going.
Well, if you're a Ryan Preece or, like you said, a Trevor Bayne, because for Trevor Bayne, his season this year has kind of been in murky waters with sharing the ride with Matt Kenseth and having to jump out of the 6 due to sponsorship reasons for a while. But really, I see that for Trevor Bayne, if he was able to put those pieces together.
Right,
as a jump start or a
reset
to his career.
Yep.
Because that could open up many other doors in the Cup stable
Alex Bowman.
for him, like Alex Bowman. And we do know that there is a older gentleman at Hendrick at this moment in time, so you got to think there's a lot of people jostling for that spot to prove themselves worthy.
For clarity's sake,
I like
folks,
how he worded that.
Chris just called Jimmy Johnson an older gentleman.
Hey.
At least you called him gentle.
Yeah, I'm not going to
kind of balanced it
call
out
him
there.
an old man. He's an older one. He's a veteran. There we go.
Veteran.
There we go. But
Great word.
everybody's going to be trying to jostle for that spot and prove that they're ready for that 48 team. So this one car could potentially set up in line the rest of your career.
It's going to be a desired ride.
Yeah.
It's one of those, if you can't get a good ride in Cup, that ride might be the one you want to go after if you can. Now,
it's what Elliott Sadler did.
One Main is also going away. So the car, when at the end of the year, the car has no sponsorship that we know of at this point. So it would tend to favor someone who brings something with them. But
could we possibly see a jump from a current Xfinity driver, maybe like a Daniel Hemrick jump from RCR to junior?
Well, anything's possible, but
Brendan Poole maybe.
There's Brendan Poole. There's an interesting, but John Hunter's intriguing, but I still think that's your. I know that there's Kurt Busch is going over to the 1, but that's short term. I think you could see John Hunter as the heir apparent to that car.
Or do we see? I lost my train of thought. So.
Well, while you get it back on track, I'll finish my thought. We could see somebody, maybe a Hemrick, but I think you could see somebody from entirely outside of the realm that we're not even aware of or thinking of right now. Because again, if the deal is we bring money, then the question becomes, okay, what is, for example, a Noah Gragson do? What does, if Gibbs and that group don't have opportunities at the right time, you could see somebody jump. I think Gragson probably will stay because I think he's going to be full-time in one of the cars next year. But
but I'm thinking of maybe of a Tift or a Brandon Jones, maybe Tift more so because Tift's played the musical chairs route the past couple of seasons.
It'll be interesting to see.
Jones has too. I'm looking back in the Truck Series. I'm looking at the Chevy teams that are in the Truck Series right now, and I'm looking at a Justin Haley or a Dalton Sargent. And you talk about bringing money.
Well, wait a minute. Or Kaz Gralla.
Or a Kaz Gralla. Kaz is with.
How cool would that be?
Justin Haley.
Justin. Well, yeah. I mean,
a full-time ride in the Xfinity Series right now. He seems ready, and he's wanting to go to the Xfinity Series. I put Justin Haley as a prime candidate for that one car as well because he's got talent. He almost came up with a win at Daytona in the Xfinity Series, but we won't get really too far into that one. He's got to win in the trucks. Mm-hmm. He's eager to get out there, but I don't think GMS really has the potential to field 2 cars at this moment in time because Gallagher's really got that 23 car.
I can tell you this. We don't know what GMS is exactly going to do. There's a lot of rumors about them wanting to expand to a Cup operation, and I honestly believe that we very well could see that for next year, whether it's with the old remnants of the current BK Racing team or it's just and I think Gallagher obviously is first in line, of course, for the Cup part of the ride, but I could very easily see somebody, the Kaz Gralla thing's interesting, and here's why. Right now, they're Fords, but that could be easily fixed. you've got Tony Uri Sr., Tony Uri Jr. How amazing would it be if they all just kind of got together and you put that whole band back together with Dale Jr. and the whole group? Can you imagine the marketability of that?
I think huge. I think the Haley issue is also kind of interesting as well due to the ties to Hendrick from GMS alone.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, Justin, but I don't know if Justin has enough funding to cover a whole season at this point. That would be the interesting, that would be the interesting thing, because obviously there's a step up there from trucks to Xfinity, but a lot of stuff going on, and we're gonna talk one more segment about silly season because still more going on. A lot of opportunity here, a lot of pieces being rumored to plug into certain places. We'll continue that conversation when we come back around the turn. You are listening to Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep. And my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Noah Grayson, and you're listening to Motorsports Madness on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio, and we're talking about silly season. We're talking about Casey Kane retiring, which leaves the 95 Cup car open at the moment. We're talking about Elliott Sadler retiring. That leaves the one car for Junior Motorsports and Xfinity open for the moment. We understand that perhaps, according to rumor, the 41 may be open in the Cup Series for Stewart Haas because Kurt Busch is leaving, taking Monster with him. And again, according to rumor, it may be Ganassi, and it may be into the one car to replace Jamie McMurray. But also, wait, there's more. The 47 and the 37 in the Cup Series, the JTG Doherty cars, are the subject of rumors about perhaps one or both of those drivers being gone. Now, A.J. Allmendinger is signed through the 2020 season, but that doesn't mean that there can't be a change there. The persistent rumor is that Ryan Preece is going to replace either A.J. or Chris Buescher. Ryan says no. The team isn't confirming it. This is a situation where Kroger And a lot of their vendors are really tied up in this team to the point where it doesn't so much matter if a driver brings, I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It's maybe a little less important that the driver brings a full season sponsor. They can almost pick who they want. The reason Priest keeps coming up, Randy, is because of the youth movement in NASCAR that they want to get on board. I guess they, according to whoever made that statement, maybe Chris Buescher is a little too old. I'm not sure how that works, but they just don't feel that Chris and or AJ are necessarily performing up to task. But are you buying or selling Priest possibly in the 47 or the 37?
That just seems like a wild card to me. But I mean, when these young guys come up and they start doing really well, we talked about Kaz Grala and Justin Haley and Brett Moffitt. When these guys start winning races, they start getting eyes on them, and all it takes is a consistent string of good finishes, and somebody's going to go, you know what? I want to put them in my car and see what they can do. So I mean, maybe somebody was like, hey, you should check out Ryan Priest and see what he can do. And I mean, all it takes is one good race.
And this also brings up an interesting situation because Buescher could be also thrown in the hat for the one car on the Xfinity side with JR.
Former Xfinity champion.
A former Xfinity Series champion.
Good point.
He could go back to the one. I would also like to see Matt DiBenedetto take over that 37 run at JTG because he seems like a prime candidate.
Here's the deal with that, Cisco. I don't want to be ugly toward go fast, but we know that the car isn't what it needs to be for Matt to show what he can do. The 37 would be a step up, but what about Matt DiBenedetto going to the 41 car and replacing Kurt Busch if that opportunity came up? How amazing would that be?
That would be cool, but the one problem with that would be Matt would be a one-and-done year because we know that is the Cole Custer car. Eventually, in one way or another, it's going to be the Cole Custer car. So unless Matt goes out and destroys absolutely everybody in that car, I don't know if that's going to work the way we want it to, unfortunately.
Well, Chris, I hear what Cisco's saying, but why couldn't necessarily, what would stop Stuart Haas from going out and finding a 95 car if they needed to in order to accommodate Cole Custer until maybe Clint Boyer's ready to retire, and then all of a sudden he goes in the 14 car?
That's what I was going to say, Tom, because if you look at Stuart Haas, they're one of the oldest driver teams in the sport right now. They've got Clint Boyer, they've got Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch, who is rumored to be leaving. Eric Almirola doesn't quite fit in that category yet. He's still got some years.
I was going to say, he just got there.
But I think it would be more of a interesting opportunity to see Custer wait a year, have them fill that 41 car, and then just swap the numbers around and Custer take that 14 when Clint's ready to hang up the shoes.
Yeah, I mean, Clint's older than a lot of people realize. Not that I'm saying he should retire next year.
That's what beer does for you.
He's winning, but yeah, it's what beer does for you. Yeah, well, I just feel like, honestly, see, for me, if I'm in charge at Stuart Haas and I knew the 41 was opening up and I could find a way to pay for it, I'm bringing Ryan Priest. That's who I'm bringing. I would love to think that there could be a huge surprise, like a knock the internet out surprise, and Chris Bell goes over there because he would be Tony Stewart's kind of driver.
Right.
But I think Toyota would basically run him over with a Celica if he ever left to go to another manufacturer. They'd find an old beat up junker and just run him slap over. I don't know. I just. This silly season gets more and more interesting by the week because, Hunter, it's like every time we get a retirement announcement, every time we get another rumor coming up about somebody like a Priest who, to me, plays a spoiler role. Mm-hmm. This is a driver who's been running a limited schedule with Joe Gibbs. We don't think that Joe Gibbs is going to have anything full-time for him. So that kind of leaves him to decide if he gets some other opportunity that he feels like is good in Cup, he can jump ship and take it, and that takes a seat away from one of the kids coming up.
Yeah.
I say Ryan not a kid, but he's a little older than Justin Haley.
Yeah. Let me throw my thought out on this whole conversation because I haven't gotten to jump in on any of this yet. So I could definitely see Priest going to a JTG. I could certainly see something like that. I don't know if I could see him going to a Stewart-Haas full-time, but I could certainly see him going to a JTG.
You mean you don't think Stewart-Haas would ask him to, or you don't think because, I mean, of course he would go if he
would
asked.
go
Okay.
if he was
All right.
asked. I'm saying
just
I
making
don't,
sure.
I don't
All right.
100% see him being asked to go to a team like a Stewart-Haas.
Okay.
Don't forget, too, Stewart-Haas is bringing up a lot with the Ford development. Ford is
Well, they've only got Chase Briscoe right now.
Right, but they are slowly ramping up their development program, and they're using Stewart-Haas as their guinea pig team, I
And
guess.
by the way, this all assumes that they don't believe Custer's ready.
Right.
If they believe he's ready, we know who's in the 41.
You're not throwing Cindric into that development program?
Not for Stewart-Haas. Cindric will come up through. He's already he's basically in Penske.
If he gets an offer.
He's that would be a matter of placement.
A Cindric will not race for any team but a Penske.
Right.
team.
That's what I'm saying. He's running the Roush car basically because they don't have a full-time Penske opportunity for him. Cindric's a Penske boy.
I also think that, albeit, I think that we're looking at the wrong driver that's going to retire first at Stewart-Haas. Realistically, Clint Bowyer just got to Stewart-Haas too. It's been his second year with Stewart-Haas.
Yeah, but he's the oldest.
He's the oldest, right. He's also the most wild. Like I think he'll stay there. I don't see any for at least a couple of years.
True.
I think my honest opinion, I think Kevin is the next. Although he is performing, I think Kevin is the next big bombshell to be dropped with a retirement. Because
I feel like a bombshell might drop moment for him would be win the championship and announce it, kind of like Peyton.
I could
Manning
totally
did.
see that.
Like
I could
Manning
100%
did
see
in the
that.
Go out on top.
Can you imagine, Randy, if Kevin Harvick at the end of the year wins the title and says, "Thanks, it's been fun. I'm out of here," and the 4 car opens up?
But that becomes so easy.
But you gotta
put Bowyer in a beer-sponsored car, and then you bring Custer into a Haas car.
Yeah.
You're golden.
Because you got to think
Bowyer the Bush guy.
with Keelan growing up, you got to think the family bug will hit Harvick at some point because he's missing out a lot with
100%.
Keelan growing up, and they're starting to share
Wow.
some moments at the track, and it's cool to see. But I do agree with Hunter that
Wow.
Harvick could just go out win the championship and be like, mic drop, I'm out.
Oh,
I agree with Cisco from Monday when he said that Keelan was going to take over the car.
Kevin stays in it till Keelan's ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I see that almost as a Nico Rosberg situation. I agree with both Hunter and Chris. I could see Harvick winning and being like, "Peace, I'm out," exactly like what Rosberg did in F1.
Oh, boy.
happened in multiple
I
sports.
hadn't thought of that, but, boy,
Yeah.
you want to talk about setting the silly season on fire.
This is
because here's the problem. You start to look at this and you say, okay, so of the 4 drivers, who gets that ride, that caliber of a ride, there's nobody in the Ford pipeline that's ready for that step. So now you go, it becomes a feeding frenzy from outside, and it's domino, 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 domino.
Yep.
You could
wow.
go back to what Bubba Wallace said towards the beginning of the season. Anybody could probably get in that car, the 4 car, and win races. Because it's such a high caliber car.
Yeah,
It's what Bubba Wallace
but don't
said.
sell Harvick short, though. Kevin has really
He
built
has
that
been
team.
A great
That's
driver.
100%.
This is the most fun time of the season when we get to play all these rumors and get to see who's going to go where and who's going to do what.
It didn't look like we were going to have much of a silly season at all about 3 weeks ago.
It's really interesting, and I'll just say it. From my point of view, I'm glad I'm not higher up on some of these teams that have to make these calls or have to figure out what's going on, because to me, this is a stressful situation because you're just like, who's going to go where? I wouldn't imagine being the team owners right now. Just like,
I
who
know.
do you call up?
Tough.
Who do you talk to? What offers do you make? And how strategy works in those deals, 'cause those can be really tough.
Well, and I mean, again, you always kind of, the way that the teams are trying to develop is, build your pipeline and promote from within. But, you get a situation where Harvick suddenly decides, and I don't think he will. I can't, even if he wins the title, I personally don't see him doing that. But that kind of a deal, that caliber of a car, you just, again, it just opens up more and more somebody else leaves another ride, and then that ride's open, and somebody else, it opens up about 3 or 4 more dominoes. And boy, I'll tell you what, this would be a whole lot of fun but I think right now, realistically, the 47 maybe, but it sounds like probably the 37 at least, the 95 in the Cup Series is going to be open, and it looks like obviously the 1 is going to be open in the Xfinity Series. This is really, really going to be an exciting, silly season and exciting next few weeks to keep track of. Before we go any farther, I want to let everybody know who's listening to us, whether you're listening to us pardon me, on the Performance Motorsports Network or Spreaker Live, or you're listening to us maybe on the American Forces Radio Network or one of our affiliates nationwide, digital or broadcast AM/FM. You can watch this show. We have a live stream. It's on the Race Chaser Media Facebook. This show is live Thursday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern, and we do live stream the entire show live. And then we have a show on Monday nights that we do called the Stock Car Show that's live at 7 o'clock Eastern on Monday night as well on the Race Chaser Media Facebook page. So you can go watch them. Of course, it's available after the show is over. You can still go watch the show as, I guess you'd call it, a video podcast.
See our faces.
Yeah, see our faces. Not that you're missing much if you can't, at least from my point of view anyway. And then I've got a face for radio. But you can also go to our YouTube, Race Chaser Online YouTube, and catch the video of the show the next day after it airs live. So just wanted to kind of get all of that out there as we get set to transition away from the silly season for a little while. Again, quick reminder, if you didn't tune in at the top of this show, the modified race at Bristol ended just a little while ago. Justin Bonsignor getting the win, continuing to ravage the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. The driver closest to him in points, Chase Dowling, finished second right behind him. So didn't do Chase a whole lot of good, but at least he didn't lose too many points as that season starts to wind down in that series. And we also have, as we do this show live, of course it's Thursday night of Bristol week, the truck race going to be coming up in about 40 minutes here at Bristol. So that's going on as well. We're going to do a little bit of a preview of the Cup race and the Xfinity race, which will be coming up on Saturday night and Friday night, respectively, at Bristol when we come back. So stick around. Motorsports Madness continues here on Race Chaser Radio right after this.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father. My husband. My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hide the kids. It's time to get dirty with the Race Chaser Online crew. Here's your host, Jacob Seelman, with Turn 5 Live's curator of Casa de Pork Chop, Stephen Evans.
Yeah, we gave those two the night off tonight. Jacob is at Bristol, and Steve is, well, we don't know what Steve's doing tonight, but they both have commitments. Tom Baker is the host. That's me, along with my trusty co-host for the evening, Hunter Smith, Chris Murdock. Randy Miller is also producing the show quite capably, along with chiming in with his 2 cents every now and then, and Francisco Scaramuzza via the Race Chaser Skype line. We've been talking about silly season practically the whole show. We're going to kind of slide out of that. We're going to kind of look at the Cup Series at Bristol this weekend. And as we go into this, Hunter's licking his chops over here. Like,
ready.
You're ready for this. I'm going to throw an interesting roundtable question out there. Do we see a fight at Bristol this weekend? And if so, who is most likely? Who's the hero? Who's the antagonist?
Well, no one will ever be as much of a hero as Ward Burton throwing his booties at Dale Jr. But that's top of the list for me.
Tony Stewart throwing his helmet at Matt Kinsey.
Yeah,
the booties were funnier. Though.
Yeah. Like, what were they going to do?
That was more.
Yeah. So
come on, Ward.
I don't think we'll see a fight off the track. I think we'll see a lot of heat on the track between our big three because all three of them run very well at Bristol. So I think it's going to be a very good race between those three.
Chris, quickly.
I don't believe we'll see a fight. There's not too many storylines going on to where.
Do we need any pre-existing? Don't they just sort of happen at Bristol?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could throw the Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott thing in there because they always do
that would be
during
fun.
Short track racing. But I don't think Chase wants to fight anybody, so I don't think there'll be a fight this weekend.
I don't think we see a fight, but I do think we see a lot of tempers, Randy. There is way too much at stake, way too much around the playoff bubble going on, too many desperate drivers. There are going to be some very angry people during this race because they are going to use the bumper.
So it makes Bristol so fun.
Yes.
When you mentioned fights, the first two people I thought of was Ross Chastain and Joey Gase. In which case, you will probably find Joey Gase in Knoxville after Ross throws him, across the track because he's just so light. The wind will just pick him up and blow him to Knoxville. So you'll probably find him several miles away.
Yeah, the Wally Cleaver comparison for Joey Gase pretty much went out the window if you heard him in the audio portion of that little exchange last week, Cisco.
Yeah, it was a little bit ugly. I guess the fight I'm looking for to see if there's anything left is the massive dispute we saw with Eric Almirola and Matt DiBarito. Of course, that was the biggest news to come out of Pocono. It was such an important fight that we're just licking our chops to see what happens next. That one definitely is a barn burner waiting to happen.
Yeah.
/ sarcasm there.
More like a head scratcher. Okay, we'll ponder this while we step aside, and when we come back, we'll have a little more conversation about the Cup race at Bristol. Stick around because you are listening to Motorsports Madness right here on Race Chaser Radio. HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
I'm an HRA Pro Stock Racer, Tanner Gray, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Welcome back to Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness as we continue talking motorsports, and we're hanging in with the NASCAR thing just a little longer because, well, Bristol looms right around the corner here, and it is this weekend. So it's Bristol, baby. You got to talk about it. And the Cup Series at Bristol is always entertaining. We were kind of discussing potential feuds and fights, and I think that the stage racing this weekend is going to be just so entertaining because, again, we're down to crunch time. Every point matters. These guys, because they need it for the playoff round. So I think there's a chance that we see some shenanigans in the stages, Hunter, similar to what we saw, for example, in Martinsville. I think it was last year when Ricky Stenhouse actually held off Kyle Busch to stay on the lead lap. You know, you're going to see these guys, especially the ones around the bubble. Some of these guys need to win to get in. This is the time to do it. It's either Bristol, Darlington, or Indy, and for some of them, they're not getting it done at Darlington. Indy's too big. It's the short track that's their best shot. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. In the short tracks, you have to figure the whole situation. We go back to Ricky at Martinsville. That's a short track, so the leader catches up to the back of the pack quick. So a lot of these guys may fall off the lead lap quick, and they may be running 11th. They may be having a decent run, but they're still falling off the lead lap. So you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of that, but I also think you're going to see a lot out of your guys that are already in the playoffs, just trying to collect points. I think that's, and you may see some strategy too.
Oh, I think you're going to see big time strategy here for sure. I think that, you know, like I said, the end of the stages, the last 50 laps or so of Saturday night's Cup race is probably going to be some of the most aggressive racing that you'll see all year long, just because of what's at stake for some of these guys that probably realize this is their best shot to win a race. So don't be surprised if you see some fights and see some very angry drivers after this race is over with. I think this could be the most entertaining Bristol in a long time. With that, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll continue to talk Cup. We'll talk about the Xfinity Series. We got some IndyCar stuff to chat about because there's some silly season going on there as well. Much more to come. Stick around. Motorsports Madness continues here on Race Chaser Radio in just a moment.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend.
My brother.
My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Matt Tift, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Could be in the MRM booth.
I never was good at trombone. I'm a drummer. That's how that works. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio. Tom Baker, Hunter Smith, Chris Murdock. Randy Miller is behind the glass over there in the tech shed doing a great job producing the show. Francisco Scaramuzza on our Race Chaser Skype line. And as I mentioned before, we are live on our Race Chaser Media Facebook with a live stream video. If you'd like to watch the show going forward, you can watch our Stock Car Show on Monday nights at 7 Eastern live on our Race Chaser Media Facebook. Also, this show Thursday nights, 7 Eastern on the Race Chaser Media Facebook. We are also on Twitter and on Instagram. Again, it's at Race Chaser Media. Give us a follow. And keep up with, we've got stuff on and off all week long, content, news of the day, all that sort of thing. A lot of interactive conversation goes on our social media throughout the week, especially on the Facebook. So make sure you follow us, Race Chaser Media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get some quick picks before we move on to the Xfinity Series. We'll get some quick picks for the Cup Series race at Bristol on Saturday night. Hunter, who wins the Cup Series race on Saturday at Bristol?
Well, I picked him at Watkins Glen. He would have won, but his fuel guy had a slip up. But I'm going to pick him again, Kyle Busch. I think he goes out and drives the heck out of the bowl and wins it in Bristol.
Cisco, who wins at Bristol on Saturday night in the Cup race?
Yeah, I've said for a long time that racetrack is owned by people named Bush, and I see nothing different here. Kyle Busch wins at Bristol.
Okay, and Randy, we'll go to you next.
I think they just need to rename it Busch Motor Speedway and just be
exactly.
That's what I it's going to be Kyle. There's no way.
Kyle Busch, okay, and Chris Murdock.
Alex Bowman. He's been
inching
his way up towards the front, running in the top 10 the past few races. He's good at short tracks. I honestly wouldn't count out either of the three Hendrick Motorsports drivers. Notice as I said three because Jimmy Johnson's still got some work to do.
But So I just want to clarify this. It's Bowman, it's Byron, or it's Elliott over Johnson. So you give Jimmy no chance. The other three you give a chance.
He's got no chance at all.
Wow. Okay.
It's quite the 2-inch.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say Jimmy has no chance at Bristol. I actually would argue if there's going to be a race before the playoffs that Jimmy wins, it's this one. I give him less chance next week at Darlington or the following week at Indianapolis. I think, honestly, the best chance for him is at Bristol. But with that being said, gosh, I don't know. I've been torn here. I really want to pick Kyle Busch and I was trying to look up real quick to see if he was actually on the entry list for the Xfinity Series as well.
He is.
He is, yeah. See, because I think Kyle wins both, honestly. But I'm going to tell you, the guy that wouldn't totally shock me here if he pulls off a Bristol win, because I think this is one of those scenarios where it's just perfect, is Kyle Larson. Yep. I think Kyle's Kyle's the guy that just sort of steps up when you least expect him. And this is kind of one of those aggressive, sort of not afraid to move somebody. Yep. Don't be surprised if this comes down to the Kyle and Kyle show again. And, we see either one of them win, to be honest. Xfinity Series. This one, to me, is, I think the conversation, of course, you're going to have the Cup guys that everybody's going to talk about as being the guys that have the best chance to win. But I think the conversation here, again, really is the playoffs and what happens going forward. And you look at the junior motorsports cars, I would argue, first of all, Hunter, that all of a sudden, for some reason, I give Elliott Sadler a higher chance to win now because there's kind of a mission here. He wants to go out with a championship. He's been denied it every which way he could be. I know he wants to go out on top, and every win matters here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also would think a little bit maybe the pressure's off a little bit. He can kind of go have some fun. Make it fun again for this last stretch of races. He might go out, win a couple, and, we know the junior motorsports cars are fast with Allgaier's up there every week.
Yep.
And, Reddick and Annette are both also consistent.
Yeah.
So, Annette's hanging on to possibly a playoff spot. We'll see. But yeah, I think Elliott could definitely go out and possibly win one or two before the year's over and put a run at it.
Looking at the Cup drivers that are entered here, Chris, you've got Ty Dillon in the 3 car who's entered. You've got Ross Chastain. Oh, well, actually, that's his normal. He's an Xfinity racer. So you've got the 12 car, or the 22 car, rather, is Joey Logano. Mm-hmm. He's entered. You have Kyle Busch in the 18. Let's see who else we got. We got, Larson in the 42. So there's another one that could do the double.
Chase Elliott in the 23.
I missed that. Yeah, Chase Elliott in the 23 for GMS Racing again. Do we see one of these Cup drivers win, Chris, or do you think that there's a chance that maybe we see a series regular take the checker?
I believe we see a Cup driver win. I don't really know who, but I'll pose the battle between the 18 and the 22. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano will battle.
So the 42 of Larson not going to be in the mix?
It's going to. The Kyle show all weekend. I think that's a solid solid deal.
Good at Bristol.
Joey's very well. Didn't Joey lead like all 300 laps? Yeah, that was just a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah. I'm not going to count out that 22.
Yeah, that car's always fast at Bristol. It's really interesting.
But if we're going to talk about series regulars, a guy who ran 5th in practice today, Daniel Hemrick. I really like him.
He is another driver.
He's struggling for the win, and I think Bristol could treat him well.
He finished 3rd in the spring.
He did, Randy. Yeah. You're right. I got to tell you, Hemrick to me is another guy that the closer we get here, the more, I don't want to say desperate, but I think it's almost one of those, I got to get this win sort of.
And I cannot not bring this guy up after, pulling the heartstrings last weekend at Mid-Ohio and seeing him losing it late. Austin Cindric. That win, that him losing the race in that fashion has to light something in that kid and get him to be more determined. I mean, he's been so close so many times and just can't capitalize. There's so many drivers like that in this series, and I think that's what makes the Xfinity Series so compelling to watch. We've had some of the best races we've had all season in a long time in the Xfinity Series.
Yep, Cindric driving the 12 car this weekend. So, again, you've got Cindric and Joey Logano as teammates, so that could be really interesting.
I think you have to factor into the spring Bristol race. There were no Cup drivers in it.
That's right.
It was a dash for cash race.
There
were no Cup drivers. So totally different dynamic.
Different dynamic, but I don't necessarily think that it's a given that a Cup driver wins, even though I picked Kyle Busch to do the double.
Well, the 18 won in the spring.
It's kind of, I mean, that's just, but you look at this, and again, I think there's enough speed out of some of these series regulars. And Cindric is an interesting, he's sort of one of those sneaky good picks. Like, you don't necessarily want to make him a favorite, but at the same time, he's in a Penske car. We know how well those cars run at Bristol. So, and Austin has already proven he's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with anybody or even ruffle a few feathers when he has to now and then. So, that's a guy that you got to really keep an eye on as we as we get closer to the race tomorrow night, which is Friday night.
You know a team or a team I'm really focused on who ran decent in practice today, who's running actually surprisingly really well in the playoff standings so far that could make their way in points. I won't necessarily say they're a factor for the win, but Ross Chastain has really turned up the wick in that Ford machine, and he's been running really, really well these past few races. And I don't necessarily see him as a contender for the win, but top 5, top 10 definitely do.
Top 10 for sure.
For that Ford
yeah,
car. He's been
Ross,
running really well.
Ross has lived right around 10th place a good bit of the year. And, again, that's the guy that's sitting right there for the playoffs that, looks like he's going to get that team in, which would be awesome for JD Motorsports.
Could we add him into the mix for the one car with the watermelon deal that he has? They sponsor a majority of his races.
That's, again, it's a matter of the difference in price range between what it takes to be able to secure the 4 car and what it takes to secure the 1 car. But I don't think anybody questions that Ross Chastain has the ability, other than maybe Joey Gase, the ability to go out and get it done if he has good equipment. So, again, that 1 car is definitely going to be an intriguing thing to watch after the season. Yeah, everybody's going to be wanting to get an opportunity in that car. We're going to step aside when we come back. IndyCar and some silly season stuff going on there, too. We'll be back with more of Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio right around the corner.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm modified driver Matt Hirschman. You're listening to Motorsports Madness on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio, and we are happy to be with you talking racing. And, we talk IndyCar here for a minute because there was this announcement this week about a guy named Fernando Alonso.
Just some guy.
Just some guy who races Formula One, who it was announced will not be racing Formula One in 2019. And that, Francisco Scaramuzza, immediately started to turn the IndyCar world upside down because at least it seems to be the prevailing thinking that this is where he goes. He goes to IndyCar. Somebody had an article about possibly Formula E making a play. They can make all the play they want. He's not going to Formula E. IndyCar or sports cars would seem like the only two places he'd possibly go. I don't think he's yet feeling like sports cars are his thing. I think IndyCar is where he goes, Cisco. The question is, where in IndyCar would he go?
And where kind of the problems in this arose was the fact that we talked about it earlier in the week, the fact that McLaren missed the window. If they wanted to start fresh with the team and start on their own, they kind of missed the boat to do that, unfortunately. The window on that has closed. However, if McLaren wanted to come on board with an already established team like an Andretti or a Michael Shank Racing, if they had the money to do it, that's still in the realm of possibilities. And from what we understand, IndyCar is open to that. And if McLaren comes to them with a deal to where they're going to team up with another team, they will support that. At least that's what we've heard as of right now. So it would stand to reason for Alonso. It's an opportunity to once again go for the Triple Crown of Motorsports. He already has a win at Le Mans, and he already has a win at Monaco. So all he would need at this point is the Indy 500.
Now, I'm not sure that McLaren specifically said their window was closed for next year, but it doesn't seem likely at this point. So we would assume for the moment that McLaren would not be starting up a team for Alonso to race for. So a lot of the rumor mill kind of earlier week happenings revolved around him going to a third car in the Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan stable. But then I saw something that Bobby Rahal is really looking at a couple of other drivers, namely Colin Brown, as being a driver that he would look at and wants to test. So now you say, well, if not a third Rahal car, we were talking about Scott Dixon maybe going to the new McLaren team, but then he re-signed with Ganassi, and immediately Chip said, I'm not doing 3 cars in the IndyCar series, not going to happen. What he didn't say, though, is that Ed Jones was safe in the 10 car. Yeah. How amazing would it be to see a 2-car Chip Ganassi stable in 2019 of Scott Dixon, Chris, and Fernando Alonso? Hello.
That would almost be an IndyCar dream team, so to speak. Tom.
Almost?
Because, I mean, getting Fernando Alonso to run IndyCar is a dream that just might come true anyway.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be so sure because he says he wants to run the Indy 500. That's already stated. And he loves the American fans. If you look at the video we posted earlier on our Race Social Media Facebook page, he goes in depth talking about the reception of fans and how nice they are over here in America. So it would make sense for him to go to IndyCar, but also in that interview that didn't get posted on our Facebook page, he wants to run Le Mans. He wants to run that 24-hour race. So I could see Fernando Alonso go endurance racing for a while, maybe.
And Ganassi has that opportunity for him as well.
I don't believe Fernando would choose a full season of sports cars over a full season of IndyCar. I could see him doing IndyCar and also doing Le Mans if the opportunity were there. He's got enough years left of his career. I don't see him, Hunter, passing up, and you know he's going to have multiple. Right now, everybody's still associating him with Honda. So this is why we're kind of looking at some of the Honda teams. It's really, at this point, it's not a guarantee. But, I mean, Andretti always appears to be in the picture here, but you just kind of wonder the resources, and I don't see anybody leaving. So I just think IndyCar is where he ends up.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I think it'd be awesome for him. I think it'd be awesome for IndyCar to have him come over.
Yeah.
He showed, obviously, it was one race. It was the Indy 500. He showed success in it, and he had so much fun with it.
Yeah.
That was the big thing.
Yep.
He enjoyed it. I think the past couple seasons have been dismal. I'll use that word for him in F1. So to come over with McLaren Honda, I think that would be really cool. And I think everybody's first thought is, oh, well, he did Indy with Andretti, so let's put an Andretti deal together. But I'm not so sure that he's not going to if this becomes a more realistic thing and he says, hey, I'm going to go to IndyCar. I don't think it's out there that he's going to explore other options. And 100% that's probably going to be the case.
I think he's going to have some other options. I mean, as we said, Ray Hall certainly could add a third car. If the opportunity to bring him in were there, I'm quite sure that Bobby Rahal and his group would want to do that. I mean, the worldwide exposure. But
it might be a total long shot, but Penske has run 4 cars before.
But Penske's not Honda.
True.
And also, I don't see Roger reaching for Fernando Alonso. I think I could see, what I could see, though, is I could see maybe if Roger does want to add a 4th car and if a Robert Wickens were to become available, then we see Wickens go to Penske, and I could see Alonso sliding over there with old Hinchtown very nicely into that organization as well. Boy, I mean, you just look at the possibilities. And again, if you see Fernando fit into, say, the 10 car, let's just say, for example, now Ed Jones is out there looking for an opportunity.
Yep.
You know, you've still got Colton Herta, who's trying to find a car, and we know that he's got Steinbrenner money behind him to do it, which for those who don't know, it's a lot of money. So he definitely has the opportunity to pretty much go where they feel like the best fit is.
All this moving around and all of these series is really giving me a headache because everybody is just
you need a scorecard to keep track of the players, but that's what's so awesome about this time of the year, and it just seems like every year you get a bombshell that you don't expect, like we did today with Casey Kane. I don't think anybody really saw that coming this year. Mm-hmm. And then you start, again, it opens up something to where now somebody else moves, and then you get, so it only takes one unexpected development to create kind of an earthquake, and everybody plays musical chairs. Yeah. IndyCar, we know, is becoming more and more desirable around the globe. More and more drivers from outside of the U.S. are starting to talk about IndyCar, which I think is great for that series because it's been a long, long time coming. And with the pending changes in 2020, 2021, maybe another motor manufacturer coming in, you're adding more tracks now into the mix. I think the IndyCar series is poised to really take a big step forward, so you get a guy like Fernando Alonso that comes in out of Formula One, Hunter, and he really adds a worldwide exposure to the series that it doesn't have because he's popular all over.
Well, that's the point I was going to make is Fernando Alonso has the fan base behind him.
He does.
He's got a huge fan base behind him, easily one of the most popular drivers in Formula One history, or at least as of late, for sure. But, he could bring a whole nother world to IndyCar. You know, we could see going back to Brazil potentially. You know, that kind of stuff that could open up.
Well, there's been talk about that.
That could open up for that.
They have work
reason.
to do here first, but yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's a situation that we certainly could see more along the lines of 21, 22 down.
The demand could generate more.
I think you gotta take care of things here first and solidify everything here. Get another motor manufacturer and maybe get some more teams involved because it takes a lot more money to go overseas or go out of the U.S.
Hashtag bring back Lotus.
Ooh, yeah, wow. How amazing would that be? Certainly, though, great opportunities. IndyCar with some good races coming up. Pocono coming up. Watkins Glen coming up not too long from now. And, it should be a very, not Watkins Glen, I didn't mean to say Watkins Glen, Gateway, coming up not too long from now. Should be a great fall for the IndyCar series. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that in future shows here, but certainly I think Fernando Alonso's got everybody's attention now, and lots of rumors about testing situations for him coming up, perhaps that people aren't supposed to know about, but somehow it always gets out. We'll try to keep everybody updated on that as we go forward. Formula One also still on holiday, but shaping up to get ready to have their stretch run. Lewis Hamilton certainly appears to be the guy that everybody's got to play with and get by and do better than to win the championship in that series. But one thing that's really intriguing to watch, we already know Daniel Ricciardo is bolting away from Red Bull. That open seat is the one right now in F1 that everybody's paying attention to. Lots of conversation about Pierre Gasly. I would love to see that happen because I think the kid's ready for it. But, again, not so sure that with Alonso leaving now, another opportunity over there. Again, dominoes, more to play out. Keep your eye on Formula One as well, and we'll talk more about that in coming shows also. Here on Motorsports Madness, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we start talking topics. We're going to do 2 segments of the lightning round here. We're going to talk ARCA before we're done as well. You are listening to and watching Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio. Stick around.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Welcome back. This is Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio. Tom Baker, Hunter Smith, Chris Murdock, Francisco Scaramuzza, and Randy Miller all talking around the round table inside the Race Chaser Studios in Mooresville, North Carolina, otherwise known as Race City, USA, and we are hanging around talking motorsports for about another 30 minutes or so, and we've had a request for Truck Series picks. So let's go ahead and make some. Of course, the race, as this show airs live, is starting in about 10, 15 minutes or so. So I will work backwards this time. Cisco is on the Skype line. So we'll start with Cisco, who wins tonight's truck race, sir.
The truck race, I'm going to have to... I think the truck race is going to have to go to Crafton. I talked about it last week, but I just feel like this is a track that Crafton runs very well at, and he's got the added incentive of, oh yeah, I haven't won a race this year. I need to go out and win a race. So he is going to be absolutely jumping at the stick to make a move. He's got the veteran kind of skill set to be able to make a truck last at Bristol. I like Matt Crafton for this.
And now let this sink in for a moment. He's the playoff bubble driver.
Yes.
Okay, now there are other drivers in the truck series who would look at that as, yay, I'm on the playoff bubble, I'm in. Matt Crafton looks at that and goes, this year sucks. Mm-hmm. Randy, who you pick to win the truck race? And by the way, you can't pick Kyle Busch. You know why? He ain't in it.
Right. Okay, so the word of the day is momentum. So I feel like Brett Moffitt is going to win his third straight race.
Brett Moffitt definitely has the momentum to win.
And he has everything to lose because they don't have sponsorships, or everything to gain because he doesn't have sponsorships. So he's auditioning for sponsorship.
Yeah, they definitely, what they want is they want a full season sponsor. And
yeah, of course.
Continuing to win definitely ups those odds, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go, and it's going to go on the opposite end of the spectrum from what Randy just said. I'm going to go trying to spark the run with the last regular season race in the Truck Series season, Todd Gilliland.
Ooh, well, it is, if you want to talk desperation, that's it, because this is the last race, as you said, of the regular season, which means Todd Gilliland either needs to win or he's not getting the playoffs. He had a late start to the year, so the question becomes, does he get it done tonight? If not, of course, he can still keep racing, but it just won't be a playoff truck. I think that I would love to see Todd win this. I just don't think so. Mm-hmm. My pick, however, does come out of the KBM stable, and that is Noah Gragson.
Okay.
I think Gragson gets it done. Noah's, again, a guy, he missed the Pocono race because he was ill. And ironically enough, now Harrison Burton's sick, who was supposed to drive the 51 truck, and Chris Bell is in the truck and on the pole, by the way. No small feed and no small note here. But I think Gragson gets it done.
You had a good segue into my pick. I think it's the fastest pizza delivery truck in town. The Hunt Brothers pizza truck, driven by his super sub Chris Bell, I think goes to victory
30
lane
minutes
tonight.
are free. Is
30 minutes are free.
That's
it. Bristol, Tennessee to Charlotte, North Carolina in under 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, I think Chris Bell goes out and just has some fun, and former Truck Series champion, got in, won the pole, was fast in practice, goes out, takes a 51 to the win.
Well, there is something to be said for Chris Bell having fun, Chris, because this definitely is a situation where there's nothing to lose. He's not in the points, and the truck's really not in the points. So there really is nothing to lose here. I don't know. That's it's an interesting thought.
He's starting on the pole.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's already starting way better than everybody else. And like Hunter said, the fastest delivery truck in town, I feel like he has a good spot. I just want to put my money on the underdog and say Todd Gilliland. I will say I saw Harrison Burton tweet earlier about his situation. He said he's bummed, but he really wants Chris Bell to go get that W.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
So
I'm sure he does.
Cheering on from the sidelines.
Yeah, I just want to say I think it's cool that we had 37 trucks enter the truck race, and there was bumping and qualifying and whatnot. There was 37 trucks entered, 32 made the race. One small point I will make, though, and I don't know how this sits with you guys, but it sits with me, is they made it so this is the playoff cutoff race for the Truck Series. And you made it so that anybody competing for Cup Series points cannot run in the Xfinity Series or Truck Series playoff cutoff races.
Right.
I feel in the Truck Series that should also go for Xfinity Series if you're running for points in the Xfinity Series. As a division, that is nationally accredited.
Oh,
as
so
above
running
the
reports the
trucks.
Xfinity Series, you shouldn't be allowed to
We
run
shouldn't be allowed in the trucks
You
as
don't
well.
think your
Yeah.
pick should be able to run the race?
Well, essentially, no. Yeah. I think he's going to win tonight, but I think
which is why you don't think he should be able to run.
But
I see what you're saying.
But I think being a series that's above it, I think that should still stand.
Well, if you think about where we were with the Xfinity Series during the Dash for Cash races this season, when there were no other drivers from outside areas playing a factor, those were some of the best races we saw all season long.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I would agree with that, actually. I think that's kind of interesting, and it would have been intriguing to see what would have happened if they didn't have Chris Bell to drop in there and had to either look at someone. It would have to be Truck Series or maybe someone like a, Christian Eckes, who, somebody like that. Or
right in the fence at Bristol.
Throw Logan with the truck up on the fence. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, Brent Gusick's throwing out. He believes Ben Rhodes going to get the job done, and I certainly wouldn't disagree. Yeah, Rhodes is another one that, Ben has just come a long, long way. He is so aggressive this year, and really that whole team, I think, has taken a step up. Kind of fun to see Ben doing so well. Want to say hi to James Pike as well, our race chaser correspondent across the pond, who is in our chat this evening as well. Hope you're doing well and hope to see you again soon. Okay, Hunter, you had a question you wanted to throw out for the lightning round, and I completely forgot what it was, but I think Hunter remembers. Go ahead.
All right, so obviously Bristol Weekend, one thing that's known with Bristol Weekend is the drivers get to pick their intro songs. So I posed this question to everybody here at the round table and also on our Skype line and Randy behind the glass. What would be your intro song if you were to walk out to your car at Bristol? What would be your intro song? I'm going to go last because that's what Tom usually does when he poses questions.
I feel like the obvious choice is Click, Click, Boom, because Bristol is kind of a ticking time bomb. And it really would just sweep you up.
Okay.
Randy?
I don't know if there's any WWE fans that listen to the show.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
The Miz is my favorite, so I would definitely use his theme song.
Who is that?
The Miz.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, Cisco, you got one?
On the same topic as Randy, mine would be Cult of Personality by Living Colour, for reasons that are obvious if you're familiar with WWE at all.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see who's left. Me.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, if I were doing a WWE choice, I'd reach way back. We'd do a TBT. Isn't that what they say? Throwback Thursday. We'd do a Throwback Thursday to the Undertaker's theme song. If you can't get psyched up listening to that song, you don't have a pulse.
I was kind of wondering how far back you were going to go, because I was thinking like Hillbilly Jim or something like that.
Somehow I don't feel like that. Yeah, I love Jim Croce, but I don't know about that as an intro at Bristol. But yeah, we would do that. But honestly, for me, everyone that knows me knows I'm a Rush fan. There are two songs they have whose lyrics basically lend themselves to racing. One Little Victory, which has a great drum intro, or Driven. Either of the two would be my choices for theme songs. And now, Hunter, you can have the last word on that.
I can't decide between two, and you may know where I'm going with this, but one of my choices would be "I Walk the Line" by Johnny Cash. That would be probably my number one.
Now wait a minute, hang on. You're not gonna go Conway Twitty on us, are you?
I'm gonna go Conway Twitty.
Oh my gosh!
I would say "Hello, Darlin'" by Conway Twitty, just because it would completely throw off that the kid from New Jersey walks out to "Hello, Darlin'" by Conway Twitty. So I'd be all over that.
Now, we should point out that Hunter's girlfriend, Alyssa, is in the studio, so we know who he would be looking at when that lyric came on. Hello, Darlin'.
Lip singing to that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's wow. That is way too mellow for a Bristol, but I guess you're right.
He would definitely draw the boos, I'm sure, from the Bristol crowd.
Oh no, I don't think they boo at all. I think the Bristol crowd will love it. Yeah, that's a country crowd there. No, I think that would be. I think they don't recognize it. Think it was Greg. I knew that's where Hunter was going, because he's the only besides the announcer at Carolina Speedway who does a guaranteed Conway Twitty song every week.
Yep.
Okay, that's his thing. Hunter's the only other one the only other person I know besides me who actually likes Conway Twitty. Chris?
Not even his parents.
I would have to agree. I do.
Well, maybe I don't know his parents.
I do have another
I hope they like
lightning round question to throw in the hat, considering I saw on Twitter Matt Tift
Okay.
going to be in the MRN booth for tonight's.
Oh, cool.
Tonight's truck race.
Nice.
If I could pose the question, who has been your favorite driver to announcer switch over to this season? Which driver do you like in the commentary booth the most?
Ooh.
This season or ever?
Let's go this season.
Okay. You want to go first, Hunter? I
can go first. I'll give you two.
On that one.
I'll give you two quick answers.
Okay.
My favorite this year, and I think he did a little bit last year, but Clint Bowyer. Clint Bowyer's personality is infectious. But ever from my I was born in '95, so there's a little bit less to pick from, maybe than Tom has to pick from. But my favorite ever was when Kevin Harvick and Dale Jr. did the pre-race at Sonoma in 2002. That was great. That was hysterical. I think the two of them together had an awesome dynamic. But so that would be ever, and then this year, but definitely be Clint Bowyer.
Okay, Cisco, you got an answer for that one?
I'd have to say for this year, Brendan Gaughan, when he did it, especially when he did it at Iowa, was fantastic. And as of all time, oh man, for all time, I want to say Clint Bowyer, but I can't because Hunter said him already. So
you can agree.
You can.
I'll agree with that, but I also want to throw out, just because of how he's been able to carry on the family tradition, Dale Jarrett.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're doing all time, yeah. So Dale Jarrett definitely would be. Well, my all-time favorite, honestly, would be Buddy Baker, because nobody could tell a story like Buddy Baker, and he just brought a passion and sort of a, oh my God, look at that kind of aw shucks sort of. I think Buddy was great back in the day, but as far as this year goes, I definitely don't. I like Brendan Gaughan, but he was not good. I completely disagree with Cisco. He was definitely not good. I honestly think I would go. I'd probably go Bowyer too, but I got to give a close second, believe it or not, to Eric Jones when he did his shot, because I was really surprised at how smooth Eric was. I think he did a really, really nice job. So, that's a fun question, because it is cool to see the drivers get an opportunity, Randy, to trade places. And Hunter in our chat just mentioned Chris Bell at Eldora as well, and that we'd have to give a nod to him.
The first person I thought about was Christopher Bell at Eldora, because having no experience at all doing it was amazing. But
really
for
good.
me, I think that Dale Jr. has made the races on NBC so much more exciting with him being in the booth. They're so much better with him.
I think we all agree with that. It was almost like he was so obvious that we wanted to, just go elsewhere. But no, that's okay. Because it counts, and it's this year. So you get to have that. I definitely would like if. All right, I'll do a real take. We got about 30 seconds here. Driver who hasn't done it. Who you would most?
Question?
What's that?
I don't get to answer my own.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did.
No,
I lost track. Go ahead.
My favorite, I guess, combo would have to be Larson Bell at Eldora, just because of the sheer knowledge that they brought to that whole broadcast, with both being dirt people. Larson and Bell really stole that show for me.
Yeah, Larson just needs to work on his filler words. That's all. Okay, so the next question is, real quick. Driver who hasn't done it yet that you would most like to see actually in the booth.
Current driver or ever?
Current. We'll go current.
Okay. I would say ever Ward-Burton, just so that would be my.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah, and he has to be with Jeff, so Jeff can translate. If he'd have to be with Jeff can translate. So current, I'd love to see Matt DiBenedetto get in there, just because he's a personality. So I think that'd be cool. There's a bunch of guys. Michael McDowell, it would be awesome to see in the booth. There's a bunch of guys. I would say those two are my top, though.
Hunter. Or Chris, sorry.
Kurt Busch. I feel like he would have some great insight on it, because he's been on both sides of the coin, from being kind of like the bad guy of the sport, where everybody booed him for the longest time, to now being one of the more respected guys in the garage. I'd like to see his take from this.
Yeah, well, his brother came in. So.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Randy, real quick.
My pick would be Elliott Sadler, just for the same reason, just because I think he has a lot of knowledge, and you can really barely ever understand.
He's going to have some free time next year, by the way.
Yeah,
that is very true. That is very true.
Cisco.
Picture Daytona 24. We've just crossed over the midnight threshold. Hello and welcome back to the 24 Hours of Daytona. Now joining us, A.J. Allmendinger and James Hinchcliffe teaming up here to bring you the midnight hour of the Daytona 24. Tell me you wouldn't want to see that.
Oh, boy. Okay. I don't know about all that. That might be a little bit much. I'm actually going to save my answer to that question for after the break. We'll be back with more Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio right after this.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas and get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Tyler Reddick will be in action in the Xfinity race on Friday night at Bristol. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Race Chaser Radio. Just a couple of minutes left. I promised I would have my thoughts on driver who I would like to see in the booth if I could pick one who hasn't done it yet. Certainly, again, Buddy Baker, definitely old time or for all time. But honestly, I would like to hear Kaz Gralla in the booth for an Xfinity race. And the reason I say that is because if you listen to Kaz talk, he is so eloquent in the way he speaks. He enunciates really well. He's easy to listen to, and he's very, very smart. I think Kaz would be a lot of fun with a microphone in the booth. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to just give everybody a chance for a quick final thought. You can go anywhere you want with this. It can be racing. It can be something from the news, whatever you want to tag. I'll start with Hunter.
Oh, wow.
Final thought.
Throw me on the spot.
Throw you on the spot. Final thought.
Going to be a cool weekend of racing just in general. Bristol for all of NASCAR. And then you have Pocono for the IndyCar. So 2 very physical tracks. I'm going to go fitness side real fast.
That's you, Fit Stop Performance.
That's it. So Bristol, really physical. We've been getting a couple of our guys ready for Bristol. A lot of G-forces in the corners. The banking it plays havoc on a driver's neck and core areas during these races. So definitely watch for that. I look for that to be exciting to see the races this weekend there and who can withstand it. And then Pocono, fast track for the IndyCar guys.
Oof.
Really fast track for the IndyCar guys. Can't wait to see them go there. My home track, being from New Jersey, that track has a place in my heart. So really excited to see IndyCar go to Pocono too and put on a good race up there.
Okay, Chris.
I'm going to switch gears and go from fitness to mental. It's going to be a huge mental game. You know, we talk to drivers all the time that say they lose track of where they're at on the track just because you're staring at the track the whole time when you're in the
Bristol,
corners.
yeah.
It's very, very mentally taxing race, and I can't wait for it.
Cisco.
Well, you guys had the serious points. I wanted to bring up the humorous point. With Casey Kane announcing his retirement, NASCAR Chasm brought up the idea, and I will bring it up here on this show, that we need to bring back the Allstate Kane fan mothers for a final commercial. We don't know what happened. We need these plot lines finalized. What is going to happen? Man, come on, guys.
I agree. They're probably rioting right now. It was a retirement announcement. Randy, real quick.
Bristol's a track about, rubbing and racing and tempers flaring, so it's going to be an exciting weekend for all the series. And a quick shout-out to Parker Kligerman. He qualified 6th for the truck race.
Yes, definitely. Always. Oh, boy, gosh. If
He's
Parker,
the dark horse.
that team is Tennessee. If he wins the truck race, they will tear that track apart.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so that'll wrap it up for another Motorsports Madness. Thank you to all of you for listening. Remember, you can find us at Race Chaser Media on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Please go like the pages, follow us, and we will talk with you next time. For Hunter Smith, Chris Murdock, Francisco Scaramuzza, Randy Miller, and all of the rest of our staff here at Race Chaser Media and our sponsors, thank you for listening. Good night.
You've been listening to Motorsports Madness with the Race Chaser Online crew. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. Motorsports Madness is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network, www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section of the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the madness returns on Monday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, keep it off the wall and keep the shiny side up.